Hello, everyone. My name is John Vavrina, Vice President of Sales for Railbookers, and I'll be your host today. Now, I'm going to spend some time explaining who we are, what we do, some of our top-selling trips, and most importantly, I'll discuss some of the advantages that you have by booking through Railbookers, which isn't available anywhere else in the marketplace today. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to input them here into the question box, and I'll be happy to provide you with an answer. I'll probably wait to the end in order to address the questions, but feel free to enter the questions as they come up. So who are we? Well, Yankee Holidays was our first brand established 46 years ago in 1972. Now, in 2007, Yankee Leisure Group is formed, as we were managing multiple brands. Well, today we have three distinct brands: Yankee Holidays, Amtrak Vacations, and Railbookers. Now, you'd almost think of it as four brands when you consider Via Rail Vacations by Railbookers. We've had some good fortune. Every year has been our best for the past 6 years, and that includes this year, as we're experiencing double-digit growth in 2018, making it our new best year ever. And just 6 years ago, Yankee Leisure Group is based solely in the Boston area. Today we have offices in Southern California, London, Beverly, Massachusetts, and Sydney, Australia. But today we're focusing on our Railbookers brand. Now, Railbookers has been servicing the UK and Australian markets since 2003, but we just introduced Railbookers to the US market at the end of 2017. Why choose Railbookers? Well, let's discuss each of these points. We're at Rail Experts. Now, our expertise, it's not just the destinations, as with many tour operators, but we're experts in the train systems all over the world and the best routes to take based on your needs. We like nothing more than talking to you about your vacation by rail. These are just some of our major partners that we have direct contracts with. Now, this insider access, it allows us not only to book your rail vacation up to 18 months in advance, before pricing and schedules are released to the public, but also to offer great values on a daily basis. Now, you see all those colors? Those are all the different rail systems just in Europe, and none of them talk to each other. But guess what? We've got direct contracts with all of them. Now, many of you are familiar with our sister brand, Amtrak Vacations, in which we have packages on the Canadian. That's the red line. Well, through Railbookers, we run Via Rail Vacations, and we offer vacation packages on all of these lines. We also have the ability to work with special partners, such as the Rocky Mountaineer, in order to create itineraries exclusive to Via Rail Vacations, such as our Grand Circle of the Canadian Rockies, which is round-trip Vancouver, and our Trans-Canada and Rockies Adventure with Rocky Mountaineer, which originates in Toronto and concludes over in Vancouver. Now, both of these itineraries include the true train experience of sleeping overnight on Via Rail and the luxury experience of traveling on the Rocky Mountaineer. As I mentioned earlier, these vacations are exclusive to Via Rail Vacations. You'll not be able to find them anywhere else, not even on the Rocky Mountaineer website. Now, with Railbookers, you can book your trip at any time, even if tickets aren't on sale to the public yet. We can tailor-make any of our vacations to suit your exact requirements. So, for example, perhaps you're planning a standard Prague, Vienna, and Budapest trip, but you'd like to deviate from that schedule. Maybe between Vienna and Budapest, you want to go to Salzburg or Munich or Zurich. Maybe you want first class instead of standard. Maybe you want business class. Well, good news with Railbookers, we can add and change components to any of our packages. We can add additional rail or accommodations. And if we don't have a package that fits your client's needs, we can build one from scratch. And many tour operators, they offer a Prague, Vienna, and Budapest, or Venice, Florence, and Rome. But how often do you want to modify to your own custom needs? And that's what we can provide you with. One-stop shop equals hassle-free. And we know with so many routes, trains, languages, and providers, booking a vacation by rail can be confusing and a stressful task. Well, that's where we step in. Your vacation will be professionally planned by one of our rail experts. We'll organize all of your tickets, timings, excursions, and hotel stays, and send you everything you need for your rail vacation. It's that simple. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and get on board. So, what kind of vacation types do we offer? Well, we have scenic rail journeys, the Bernina and Glacier Express in Switzerland, or the Canadian Rockies, just to name a couple. Classic journeys, your Prague, Vienna, and Budapest, or your Venice, Florence, and Rome. City breaks, those are a quick getaway for 2 or 3 nights. Think of it as your own business, adding on a couple nights before or after a conference in places like Rome and London, or Paris and Berlin. Pre and post cruise journeys. Now, we'll be talking about some of these itineraries later, but frequently in conjunction with Viking, Uniworld, Avalon, Norwegian, and Hurtigruten, just to name a few. Customizable rail vacations. And this is where we excel. Like I said, if we don't have a package that fits your client's needs, we will build one from scratch. Good news, with Railbookers, we have hotel inventory in the key cruise cities, and our packages are designed to bring you beyond the port cities, so you can see the region not accessible by riverboat or cruise ship. We're able to provide the custom pre or post trip that you're desiring. Some of our most popular departure cities are Vancouver, Basel, Amsterdam, Seattle, Paris, Nuremberg, Munich, Budapest, Passau, and Rome. Frequently in conjunction with Viking and Uniworld, Avalon, Norwegian, and Hurtigruten, just to name a few. Now, in this specific presentation, a lot of times we will be showing packages that start at the port city, which are very popular. However, rather than show you those packages that either start or end in the port cities, this time we chose the most popular packages that are chosen by travelers to Europe that don't start or end in a port city. Now, keep in mind, we can add the custom rail from any port city to begin these vacations, or even customize the order of the cities that you travel to. Some of our top destinations are Italy and Switzerland, Spain and Portugal, North America and Scandinavia. Well, let's get started with some of those popular vacation packages. Switzerland's lakes and mountains. You can take the scenic trip of a lifetime through Switzerland on this exciting vacation by rail, starting with overnight stays in Geneva and Montreux. Continue the journey along the Golden Pass line in Interlaken. You'll take a memorable trip to the highest railway station at the top of Jungfrau Mountain, before traveling through the Swiss Alps aboard the Glacier Express to Core. Then you'll complete this incredible journey with a day trip across spectacular viaducts past impressive glaciers on the Bernina Express. Once again, a very popular deviation from this is people that get off of a river cruise or plan on starting a river cruise in Basel. We can add the custom rail to this package to make all that happen. A few European cities can match the charm and number of attractions of Geneva, the second largest city in Switzerland. And it's no surprise it's won the World Travel Awards title of the best European city for weekend tours, a title considered to be the Oscar of the tourism industry. Now, the inhabitants of Geneva are very cheerful, and the city hosts a festive event almost every single day. After an overnight stay, you'll enjoy breakfast in your hotel before checking out and catching the train to Montreux. And journey to Montreux is a lovely scenic trip, taking in sparkling vistas of Lake Geneva. On arrival, you'll check in your hotel for an overnight stay. And Montreux is a beautiful city and a hiker's paradise. It also has an amazing mild climate and is well known for its vineyards. You can spend your time exploring the city on foot or head out to view the famous Chateau de Chalon Castle in Lake Geneva. Now, the Golden Pass is truly spectacular. The train wraps its way through valleys, tunnels, and even a cogwheel track. You'll have beautiful views of Lake Geneva, and you'll ride through the Simon Valley, which is a typical Swiss green valley with farms, small villages, forests, and surrounded by mountains. Now, these ultra-modern trains have some unique features. In addition to being extremely comfortable, they're also fitted with specially designed panoramic windows that allow you to immerse yourself in the nature outside. And once you've climbed on board, the train seems to almost disappear, allowing you to become one with the landscape. The sensation far surpasses even the most high-tech cinematic technologies. There's good reason why so many Bollywood film directors are attracted to the region's magnificent natural scenery. When you arrive in Interlaken, you'll check into your hotel for a 2-night stay. Interlaken's a beautiful town that means between lakes. Now, it's not unusual for a town to be on a river, a lake, or an ocean, but for it to sit between two lakes is unique. Interlaken sits between Lake Dun and Lake Brienz, so it can boast such a privileged position. It's also located in the heart of the magnificent Jungfrau region and affords views of the world-famous icy icons, the Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau. Well, upon arriving, you can do some shopping or head to the city center and grab a pre-dinner cocktail on the top of the Metropole Hotel. On day 2, you'll travel to the highest train station in Europe on a day trip to Jungfrau Joch, also known as the top of Europe, at an elevation of 11,371 feet. Now, the entire journey to the top of Europe offers majestic views. Once you've completed the incredibly scenic journey to the top of Europe, here's what you can expect. A lift, or elevator, will take you 117 meters further up to the Sphinx Observatory. You can enjoy a 360-degree view here, from both the terrace and from the comfort of a building with panoramic windows. There's an ice palace with many ice sculptures to admire. And then you have the Alpine Sensation, which is a moving walkway with images, lights, and music connecting the hall between the Sphinx Observatory and the Ice Palace. There's multiple restaurants, so don't worry about having something to eat. And you can go out in the snow and enjoy the view of the glacier and the surrounding mountains. You could also hike across the glacier to Monk's Joch Hut in about an hour, but a word of caution is only do this in good weather and with proper hiking gear, and never leave the marked trail. Now, it's almost a spiritual feeling to be looking down at the clouds from the top of Europe. This picture was actually taken by me at the Sphinx Observatory. And the views on the descent are just as impressive. And as experts in rail, we know that many who are unfamiliar with the rail system will book the default station, which is ladder running. And you'd end up with the same scenery on the way up and down from Jungfrau Joch. But we know to book you on the Grindelwald side of the mountain on the way up and the Lauterbrunnen side on the way down. So you get fantastic views of both sides of the mountain. And because of the angle of approach, the magnificent views of the waterfall that's pictured here are much easier observed on the descent rather than to climb up to Jungfrau Joch. Well, after a good night's sleep in Interlaken, you'll head over to Kor on the Glacier Express, known as the slowest express train in Europe, with an average speed of 24 miles an hour. The full route takes about 8 hours to go from Zermatt to St. Moritz, but we cut that down to the most scenic 4 hours by boarding in Brig and ending in Kor. As shown in this picture, the panoramic windows provide great scenery and a perfect background to purchase lunch on board, which will cost the equivalent of about $30 to $45 US, depending on what you choose. You could, of course, bring on board your own food. Just as these guys, they enjoyed lunch at their seat. However, in the picture to the right, you can see the snack car that was visited by a couple of our members of our staff as well. Hey, we're in travel. We like to eat. That's me in the Stormtrooper shirt against the window. And by the way, you can also purchase wine on board or bring your own, as we did. Now, the train gently glides along the rails through peaceful alpine meadows, deep valleys, and lush forests to the city of Kor. Once you arrive, you can make your way to the hotel and check in for a 2-night stay. Now, the beautiful city of Kor is a great place to walk around, grab a local meal, visit a 12th century cathedral, and a great city to be based for your round-trip Bernina Express adventure. Well, you will board another one of the world's most scenic journeys, the Bernina Express. After I posted this picture, plus quite a few more, to Facebook, one of my friends described it as, the Bernina Express is what all toy train sets aspire to be. I gotta say, I have to agree with that. Now, the stunning scenery will take your breath away, as you explore the Swiss Alps. And the spectacular Brugio Spiral Viaduct, which is pictured here, is only one of the amazing 55 tunnels and 196 bridges and viaducts of this UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, be sure to grab some lunch while you're in Tirano, Italy, before returning to Core. Now, there's plenty of delicious Italian cuisine to be had, and unlike the Glacier Express, they do not serve lunch on the Bernina Express. If you're adventurous, you can take a 30-minute walk to the Catholic Shrine of the Madonna di Tirano, a major tourist attraction, pictured here on the left. After you enjoy a home-style Italian lunch, you'll board back onto the Bernina Express and head towards St. Moritz, which will allow you to take all the pictures of and sights that you missed the first time on board. Well, this 7-day vacation is a great package to see some of the greatest scenic lakes and mountains of Switzerland. You'll be able to enjoy seeing the Swiss Alps on the Glacier Express and ride the Bernina Express as well. From beginning to end, on this vacation, the sceneries will not disappoint. Best of the Emerald Isle by rail. Now, once again, we can get you across from perhaps you end somewhere in Europe and you go to Europe. You want to get to Dublin. Some people tend to fly in for this trip. Others want to take either a ferry from either Scotland or from Wales. Either way, we can make both those ferry arrangements and get you started on this trip. Whether you want to start from Killarney, as this package starts, or whether you'd like to start somewhere else, such as in Dublin or Belfast. And here you get to experience the myriad charms of Ireland, discover rolling countryside, sparkling coastline, ancient landmarks, and traditional customs of the Emerald Isle, breezing from city to city by train, and enjoying hand-picked day trips, sightseeing tours, and tickets to help you get the most out of your stay. Now, Killarney is a famous stop on the spectacular Ring of Kerry, which you will have the chance to discover. On your full day tour, you will acquaint yourself with the magnificent natural beauty of one of Ireland's crowning gems, exploring McKillicuddy Reeks, the sandy shores of Dingle Bay, and the wonderful coastal views of Kenmare Bay. Pass through the wonderful national park along the way and admire the sparkling lakes of Killarney. And please do not forget your camera. Now, trains are a relaxing way to get around Ireland with beautiful views, and most trains throughout Ireland are intercity trains. This train includes onboard Wi-Fi, and if you upgrade to first class, it includes electronically adjustable seats. Well, you'll travel along Ireland's railway tracks from Killarney to Galway. Now, Galway, you will explore the quirky boutiques and galleries along the cobbled lanes of the Latin Quarter, and head to the 18th century Irish Square for an evening meal, accompanied by some traditional Irish folk music. Galway is just a stone throws away from Cliffs of Moher, one of Ireland's most enduring popular attractions. You'll join a professional guide for the journey through the tiny fishing villages, traveling past ancient castles and admiring Burren, where striking limestone scenery is reminiscent of the moon's surface. You can take your time strolling along the hiking trails and cliff paths, marveling at Celtic crosses, and perhaps enjoy a pint in Gus O'Connor's pub, one of Ireland's most famous watering holes. Next stop is Dublin, the Irish capital city. And you can explore the imposing St. Patrick's Cathedral, which dates back to 1191 AD, or learn about the Emerald Isle's history at the National Museum of Ireland. You'll get to explore Dublin with a hop-on, hop-off tour, creating a personalized sightseeing experience. You could visit Dublin Zoo, the GAA Museum, one of my personal favorites, which is the Old Jameson Distillery, and many, many more. Now, you can spend your evening in Temple Bar, sampling authentic cuisine and indulging in some good old-fashioned crack at one of the numerous traditional pubs. By the way, when the Irish say they're indulging in some good crack, it has a completely different meaning than good crack in the U.S. They mean some good times and laughs. You can also visit Blarney Castle in Cork on a spectacular scenic day trip, traveling through the verdant landscapes of the Irish countryside to the historic site of Blarney Castle, world famous for its enchanting Blarney Stone, which supposedly gives all those who kiss it the gift of gab. I think I may have recharged it when I kissed it. Anywho, let's talk about Belfast. Well, you'll ride the rails from the Republic of Ireland to Northern Ireland, pulling into the capital, Belfast. The journey is scenic and relaxing and takes just over 2.5 hours. You'll get to visit the renovated dockyards of the Titanic Water, exploring in depth with your entrance ticket included in this vacation. And you won't want to miss the opportunity to learn about 9,000 years of Irish culture and history at the Ulster Museum. Well, on the next day, you'll have a day trip from Belfast to the marvelous Giant's Causeway. You'll join a knowledgeable guide for the journey through Northern Ireland to the causeway itself, visiting attractions like castles and the old Bushmills distillery along the route. One of the legends of how the Giant's Causeway was formed is based on an Irish giant named Finn McCool. And by the way, that is the Giant's Causeway that's pictured here with the hexagonal shaped rocks. Anyway, Finn McCool was having trouble with someone across the water, the Scottish giant Ben O'Donnell, who was threatening Ireland. Now, an enraged Finn grabbed chunks of the ancient coast and throws them into the sea. Now, rock forms a path for Finn to follow to teach Ben O'Donnell a lesson. This was a bad idea. Ben O'Donnell was terrifyingly massive. Well, Finn beats a hasty retreat, followed by the giant, only to be saved by our hero's quick-thinking wife, who disguised him as a baby. The angry Scots saw the baby and decided if the child was that big, well, then Daddy must be really huge. So he ran back to Scotland. I can't verify that this story is true, but that is the legend of how this area was created. Now, some others may say it had something to do with volcanic activity, but hey, who knows? Anyway, you can discover and enjoy the best of Ireland's vacation package, as it includes all the following: 9 nights of hotel stay with breakfast in each city, transfers from Shannon Airport to Killarney if you decide to fly in from somewhere else in Europe or the U.S., full day tour of the Ring of Kerry plus Killarney Lakes and National Park, a Cliffs of Moher day trip from Galway, a Titanic Belfast entrance ticket, Giant's Causeway day trip from Belfast, and Dublin Pass with a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour, all with rail travel included throughout. Up next is the Andalusian Explorer in Spain. Once again, this is actually very popular for people to do either before or after most commonly after a river cruise. It's very easy for us to get people down to Spain on, starting. Usually, we'll get them over to France first, and they'll take the TGV train down. However, some people choose to fly in. Whichever works for you, we would be more than happy to accommodate that. But let's talk a little bit about the package itself, as is. So you can discover vibrant Madrid and the stunning seaside beauty of the exotic Moorish roots of the southern Spain's Andalusian region on this 8-night vacation by rail. Now, your journey begins in Spain's vibrant capital of Madrid, where you'll also enjoy all the major sights of this diverse city. Then journey by train south to the stunning Granada the next day, followed by historic Cordoba and the fascinating Andalusian capital of Seville. Finally, you'll return to Madrid for an additional night to round out this complete Andalusian explorer. Let's talk about night one. Welcome to Madrid. On arrival, check in at your hotel for an overnight stay and begin exploring this vibrant city. You can take a stroll to the Plaza Mayor, where you can relax and people watch at one of the many cafes lining the square. You can also marvel at the stunning architecture of the bakery house, which dominates the area, or just soak in the lively atmosphere. Now, Madrid is renowned for its many art galleries, and of Madrid's 3 famous museums, the Prado is the most celebrated and provides access to 8,600 paintings and 700 sculptures inside. You may choose to visit the Archaeological Museum and the Palacio de Cristal Park. Now, the National Archaeological Museum contains a wealth of exhibits from Spain and beyond, ranging in date from prehistoric to Renaissance times. And one of the most popular exhibits is an underground replica of the prehistoric cave paintings that were discovered in northern Spain in 1868. As we change gears, the Palacio de Cristal, or Crystal Palace, is one of the finest examples of iron architecture in Madrid. The metal and glass structure was built in 1887 and was originally planned as a gigantic greenhouse that contained tropical plants, but today it's used for exhibitions. As you can see, there's plenty to see and do in Madrid, and after a 2-night stay in Madrid, you'll board the train for a scenic ride to Granada. AVE makes traveling to cities within Spain easy and accessible. Now, the AVE, which is the Alta Velocidad Española, is a service of high-speed rail in Spain, which links major cities at speeds up to 186 miles per hour. It's operated by Renfe, the Spanish National Railway Company, and this is the train that you'll be riding when taking this vacation. It's the most efficient way of getting between two cities, quicker than a plane. On board, all AVE trains have a cafe bar serving snacks, hot and cold dishes, tea, coffee, beer, and wine, or you can feel free to bring your own food, wine, or beer on board. Now, there's 3 classes of service. 2 of them are shown here. So the AVE Tourista, which is known as second class, has a 2x2 configuration with comfortable seats and power sockets, as seen in the picture on the right. AVE Tourista Plus, which is a premium second class, has a 1x2 configuration with reclining seats and power sockets. That is not pictured here. However, the other service is AVE Preferente, also known as first class. This has a 1x2 configuration with reclining leather seats and power sockets, as seen in the picture on the left. It has a hot at-seat meal with wine included in this class, as long as you're traveling on Mondays through Fridays. Also, for major cities like Madrid, Cordoba, and Seville, this upgrade includes lounge access at the train stations as well. On arrival in Granada, you'll check in at your hotel for a 2-night stay located at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains. The city of Granada and the surrounding Granada province is steeped in medieval history, and its fascinating Moorish architecture heritage, it draws thousands of visitors every year from around the world. Now, you get to enjoy a meal of delicious tapas at a local bar. Maybe you happen upon a spontaneous flamenco performance. Or you could also admire the street art that lines the narrow cobblestone boulevards. For the following day, you can immerse yourself in Spain's Moorish past with your included entrance to the Alhambra Palace, the most popular attraction in the city, and one of the most beloved monuments in all of Spain. After breakfast, you will train to Cordoba for a 2-night stay, exploring the UNESCO World Heritage listed town, dominated by the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba, which is its colossal Roman columns and impressive interior. Now, Cordoba looks back at more than 2,000 years of history, as the city was founded by the Romans in 169 BC. Now, one time, Cordoba was the world's largest city, counting about 1 million residents, and was the spot of a peaceful coexistence of 3 different cultures: Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Now, if you like to stop, the Plaza de las Attendees is where you will find numerous cafes and shops. Well, you'll check out your hotel in Cordoba and travel to Seville, passing orange groves along the way. Once you arrive in this beautiful city, you'll have a 2-night stay surrounded by the boasting ancient architecture and orange groves. Perhaps you'll stroll the narrow streets of Santa Cruz, the historic Jewish quarter. The tangled maze of narrow streets are so close that you can touch both walls with your hands at the same time, and it's the medieval heart of Seville. Now, you may choose to visit the Royal Alcazar Palace, which dates back to 913 AD. Seville's beautiful royal palace is the oldest in Europe that's still in use. Now, this enormous palace and garden complex is a stunning mix of Islamic and Christian elements, and one of Seville's biggest highlights. Seville is blessed with year-round sunny weather. In fact, there's an average of only 80 days of rain every year. Now, as the sunniest city in Europe, Seville is home to some of Europe's most colorful and best fiestas. Oh, and Seville is one of the best places to try traditional and gourmet tapas. From old-school drinking joints with traditional dishes to the gourmet tapa bars that have sprung up in the last few years, your palates are sure to be inspired. Well, from the stunning architecture, amazing tapas, all the sights to see, you wouldn't want to miss this vacation package where you'll be able to see some of the greatest places in Spain, all with what's included here. And here we have the ultimate Venice, Florence, and Rome. Now, once again, this is very popular for people getting off a cruise in Venice, or even one that ends in Rome. However, we can also, it's not uncommon for someone to end a river cruise somewhere else in Europe and then have us add the custom rail from that port city to Venice to the beginning of this package. Anyway, you'll discover the charms and landmarks of 3 Italian gems on one scenic vacation along the rails. Explore the cities at their fullest with sightseeing tours and skip the line passes all included. You'll get to sail down the canals of Venice with a gondola ride, unearth artistic masterpieces in Florence, and gaze in awe at the Sistine Chapel ceiling in Rome. Enjoy some high-speed rail journeys connecting the fascinating cities. This is one Italian adventure you wouldn't want to miss. So you'll check in your hotel in Venice for a 2-night stay before setting out to acquaint yourself with this classic Italian city. Stroll down the banks of the shimmering canals and discover the magnificent architecture that lines the cobbled streets and square. Come the evening time, you can relax at an outdoor trattoria by the sparkling lagoon, or why not head over to Harry's Bar to try a delectable Bellini in the cocktail's birthplace. Now, the following day, you spend a full day exploring Venice. You'll discover the city's hidden gems and highlights on a walking tour, and take an iconic, relaxing gondola ride included with your vacation. You'll also have a skip-the-line access to Doge's Palace and St. Mark's Basilica, 2 of the city's most popular monuments. Now, according to Venetian tradition, the couple riding in a gondola should kiss under each bridge, and they will remain in love forever. Well, Trenitalia is a railway company in Italy, which offers high-speed trains. You'll ride in Trenitalia from Venice to Florence in only 2 short hours. On board, there's Wi-Fi, LED lighting, electrical sockets at each seat, and a restaurant service. Now, if you upgrade your class to premium, it includes a welcome service with a sweet and savory snack selection and drinks to choose from. There is a restaurant service with a choice between 3 excellent menus, consisting of main course, a snack, dessert, and water. Then you get to spend a full day at leisure in Florence. Your vacation includes a skip-the-line pass to the Uffizi Gallery, home of famous Renaissance masterpieces such as Botticelli's Birth of Venus and Michelangelo's Doni Tondo. You'll also be able to discover the city's rich history and culture with a knowledgeable guide on a walking tour throughout the pretty winding streets of the city. In the evening, be sure to sample some authentic Tuscan cuisine, including a glass of wine from the hills that surround the city. In fact, Tuscan bread is traditionally made without salt and has been this way since the 12th century. According to a popular legend, during the historical rivalry with Pisa, the Pisans thought blocking shipments of salt would force the Florentines to surrender in whatever battle they were involved with at the time. Instead, the people of Florence, they just made the bread without salt. I guess a simple problem equals a simple solution. That must have really Pisa'd them off. I know, I digress. Anyway, you will travel on the Trenitalia again for about an hour and a half to arrive in Rome. Now, Rome was founded in 753 BC by Romulus. Roman legend says that Romulus had a twin brother named Remus, and as babies, they were abandoned in the area, which later became Rome. A she-wolf found and raised them, but when they grew up, Romulus fought and killed Remus, and became the first ruler of Rome. Well, upon arriving in Rome, you'll check in your hotel for a 2-night stay and head out to get your bearings in the Eternal City. Italy's capital boasts a wealth of history on every street, and you'll be able to explore at your own leisure and on a walking tour of the city's ancient history, including a skip-the-line entrance to the Colosseum. The next day in Rome, you can spend the whole day unearthing the ancient and modern wonders of the Italian capital. You'll discover the city's Catholic heritage and Michelangelo's phenomenal ceiling with a skip-the-line tour of the Vatican Museum and Sistine Chapel. Come the evening, why not wander over to the Trevi Fountain to throw your coins in the famous water? And just so you know, every night at the Trevi Fountain, about €3,000 are swept up from the bottom of the basin. The money is donated to Caritas, a Catholic charity who uses the money to provide services for needy families in Rome. Don't miss the chance to try some authentic ice-cold Italian gelato while you're there as well. 7 days in some of the most beautiful cities in Italy. This package includes many skip-the-lines access tickets to some of the greatest attractions. Think about it. Who wants to spend their holiday or vacation waiting online? It's an amazing vacation that you wouldn't want to pass up on. Well, some of our other popular vacations are Grand Circle of the Canadian Rockies, Trans-Canada Rockies Adventure with the Rocky Mountaineer, Complete Scotland by rail, Venice Simplon Orient Express to Venice, Ultimate Berlin, Prague, Vienna, and Budapest. So why choose Railbookers? Well, just to recap, we are rail experts. Our expertise is not just the destinations, as with many tour operators, but we're experts in the train systems all over the world and the best routes to take based on your needs. Insider access. With our direct contracts, we can book your rail vacation up to 18 months in advance. Try booking European rail elsewhere. And in most cases, you'll have to wait until 90 days prior to departure to get the pricing and schedules. Flexibility, we can customize any of our packages or build one from scratch based on what your needs are. And hassle-free, we take care of everything, the rail, the accommodations, sightseeing, transfers, even ferries and intercity travel, all in one reservation. Perhaps you need some ideas. Well, our rail vacation itineraries are easy to find on our website. Just go to railbookers.com, click on destinations. Just keep in mind anything that you see on there, we are also able to customize those trips, so they're not set in stone. Now, when you click on trip planning, there's a lot that's available for you, from requesting a quote to how to make a reservation or requesting a brochure, and lots more. How do I book, you ask? Call us or call your local travel agent who can provide you with a wealth of information and that personal touch that you may be looking for. You can also submit an electronic request to quote from our website or get pricing. And I just like to clear something up. Sometimes I do get this question: does it cost any more to go through a travel agent? It absolutely does not cost any more. It's the exact same pricing. The difference is when you have a local travel agent that you can work with, you've got two professionals working on your vacation for the cost of one. Don't forget, if you have any questions, please enter them here. I may not get to all of them on the presentation, but we will follow up afterwards. Oh, and another little thing I might have left out. For all those that have attended this this presentation, there is a special. Again, whether you, no matter how you book, the special applies. So you can call your local travel agent up with the special, and you still have access to the special. So you may save $150 per couple or $75 per person on the following packages. They're the ones we just discussed: Switzerland's Lakes and Mountains, Best of the Emerald Isle, Andalusian Explorer, Ultimate Venice, Florence, and Rome. All you have to do is book by September 26, 2018, and mention the promo code RBUS River. And now I'm going to get to some of those questions that you had mentioned. Kern, you'd asked a question about getting the train map. So we do have the train maps in our brochures, and you can see them online. So there are multiple ways you can do it. If you want to get it from the brochure, simply go to our website, go to railbookers.com, scroll down to the bottom where it states request a brochure, and you can get it from there. Now, one thing I want to mention about the brochure. The brochure only includes maybe 5% of what we can actually offer. But it is a good starting point, especially since it contains our most requested vacations. Just keep in mind, if it's not in the brochure, it doesn't mean we don't have it. And unlike many other brochures you may look like, our trips are customizable because we do independent travel. So some of the things we talked about before, maybe between Venice and Florence, you decide you want to you have a Venice, Florence, and Rome package, but you decide you want to do between Venice and Florence, you want to go, or between Florence and Rome, you want to go to Pisa. Maybe like we talked about, Berlin, Prague, Vienna, and Budapest, and in between cities, you want to do a diversion and go over to, I don't know, Salzburg or Munich. Maybe you want to skip Prague. All those types of customizations based on what your needs are can be done. Good question. So, is there a guide on board that talks about what you're seeing when? I can't see the rest of the question. Let me see if I can click on it. When you're on the train. Good question. It all depends on the train. So because we book so many different trains, there's so many different pieces. So let me give you some examples. When you go to the observation car, when you're doing a Via Rail vacation across Canada, many times they do have different park rangers and stuff on the train that will be talking about the different areas and the history and the culture. When you're doing some of the say inner city trains in Switzerland, there is no guide that would be talking about there. Now most cities that we do, we have a hop on hop off pass available, whether it's part of the package or whether it was something you want to add to the package, where those you get to get on and get off as you like. Those do have guiding on board on certain high-end trains, scenic trains, even in Switzerland. We talked about the intercity trains, but now let's talk about maybe the Glacier Express or the Bernina Express. There is some commentary, not a lot. They don't like to, they like having people have the ability to have their own conversations and just observe all the sites. But there is some narration to give you a little bit of idea of some of the things that you see. Let's see. Do train tickets have guaranteed seat numbers? Great question, Lauren. So that goes back to another thing that depends on what train you're on. So, for example, the high-speed trains. Let's talk about the Eurostar, the TGV trains, the scenic trains, the Glacier, the Bernina Express. Yes, we have to have a seat reservation on those trains. They have guaranteed seat numbers. There are other trains, such as some of the inner city trains in Switzerland, where you don't have there are no guaranteed seat numbers or trains, but there's it's almost like you could relate it to taking a subway somewhere, right? There's always trains coming. You don't actually need a specific seat. I would say in general, if you wanted to look at it this way, any scenic train, any high-speed train in Europe, the Via Rail trains in Canada, those all do have guaranteed seat numbers. Does it cost more to customize a vacation? Absolutely not. So if you were trying to build a pre-packaged vacation from scratch, so let's say you looked at the brochure, I see Venice, Florence, Rome, and now I want to, I wanted to book that versus have someone simply customize, build the exact same package, just not from the package. I guess is the easiest way to explain it. If everything else is the same, the cost would be exactly the same. Assuming you're staying in the same hotels, you're staying the same days, you're doing the same class of service, you're doing the same sightseeing, the package would cost, it would be the exact same. So it doesn't cost anything more to customize a vacation. The way we came up with packages, because we're an independent travel company, we took the most common requested itineraries that people were customizing, and we just put them in an easy to pick vacation package. So that it actually, we just did it based on, some people are like, I just don't know what to go see when I'm there. I just need an idea of how to get started. That's really the basis of the package. And a lot of the package people are like, that's exactly what I want. I want this, that exactly that way. Other people want to do minor modifications. hey, this is a great package, but I'm getting off a river cruise in Basel, or I'm flying into Zurich. I just want to, I want to get from Zurich or Basel or wherever I'm coming from to the start of that package. Sure, we can add that in. Other people want to make modifications throughout. They want to, they want to add cities, remove cities, change routings and stuff like that. So we can make all those modifications. But what we usually suggest, and we can help guide too, sometimes because of the way routings, and especially when you're crossing multiple countries, when you use different countries, it's all different train systems. None of them talk to each other, so it can be very complex. A lot of times we can help guide, something that people may request may not make sense, or it may get them stuck for, you can end up having to spend several days based on the way the trains route, which is probably not your intention. I'll give you one example. People try to go across Canada and they're like, hey, can I get off? Let's say I want to get off in, I don't know, Edmonton. You can. The problem is you're going to have to stay there. You can't just get off for a couple hours. You're going to have to stay there for a couple days because the train only runs a few days during the week. And usually that's not their intention. Their intention is, no, I just wanted to get off for a couple hours. That doesn't work. So we can help answer those questions. What price range and hotel levels do you offer? And do you have a package from Basel to Amsterdam? So yes, we do have a package from Basel to Amsterdam. Even if we didn't, we could customize one, but we do. What price range in hotels? Not a great question. So let's talk a little bit about that. We offer 3, 4, and 5-star hotels. Our most common hotel is a 4-star hotel. Most of our packages already come included with a 4-star hotel. However, our second most common actually is a 5-star hotel. Our third most common is a 3-star hotel. We do not do anything below 3-star hotels. We don't do hostels. We don't do 2-star hotels, anything like that. Now, the next question I usually get, which wasn't asked here, but some of you may be wondering, well, what happens if I'm looking at your website, I only see 3 or 4 of your contracted hotels, but it's not one of the hotels that I really want to stay at. We have access to thousands of hotels. That doesn't mean we have access to every hotel in creation. And some of them, for certain review reasons or whatever, we decide not to do business with, and especially even if they're like a 2-star one that we have access to 2-star, 1-star. It's not the product that we provide, so we don't book those. So rest assured, if your intent is to be in the city center or with a view in Venice, we can accommodate that. But we may, depending on the hotel that it may not be one of the hotels on our website. We can certainly get a lot more hotels than what we have on the website. But we can't get every single hotel either. And do the hotels and breakfast. So the majority of the hotels we do in Europe do include breakfast. Usually that's how we contract them with our contracts. Sometimes if it's a hotel that's not contracted, it will depend. Sometimes we have the choice, sometimes not. It really depends on the hotel itself, but the majority, pretty much all of our contracted hotels in Europe include breakfast. And then most of the ones that we would do even outside our contracts that we have access to have the ability to include breakfast. Hi, Join Lee. Can I get a copy of the presentation? Yes, you certainly can. So what we're doing is we record the presentations, and then we send them. We'll email those out to everybody. Another question, and this is fantastic. I'm glad because this is a good question. They talked about how this question has to do with people getting delayed. What happened with bad weather? Their river cruise and their flights were delayed, and now they had no transfers. They had problems dealing with the vendor. And are you 24/7 to deal with problems? So let me answer that in a couple different ways. We do have round-the-clock coverage by calling one of our offices. Now, in Europe, we have a London office, So the most common things that happen as a issue in Europe happens actually during business hours, where our Europe office in London time is open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. in London time. I will tell you before that office, when that office, well, let's just go, let's just follow the clock here. So we have a California office, we have a London office, and we have a Sydney, Australia office for Railbookers. So there's actually someone at each office 24 hours a day. You can reach someone. What we don't have right now is a rolling phone number. So you would have to go on if you didn't know the number, you just go on the website and you just choose the Australian office phone number, the London office phone number, or the US office phone number, depending on which one. But there is staff at any hour during a 24-hour period. At least one of those offices is open. Many times, like the California office will cross over with both the London and the Sydney office. The Sydney office, or crosses over with both the London and U.S. office. So at some points there are there's multiple offices open. There's always there might be two offices open, but there's round the clock. There's always at least one of those offices are open. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining today and having the opportunity to turn in and let me talk a little bit about Railbookers and just, I just scratched the surface with just a couple of examples of some of the different packages that we offer. Again, this time I focused more on ones that don't start or stop at the port cities because some people actually don't want the packages to start or stop at, start the beginner end of the port city. Sometimes there's a very specific region. Hey, I'm going all the way to Europe, but I really want to see Spain, and I'm getting off in, I'm getting off in Amsterdam or something. We can make that happen. We can get you from Amsterdam to Spain to do your Spain vacation afterwards. And we can do that all by train. Other people may decide, hey, no problem. I'm going to take a quick inter-European flight from Amsterdam to Cordoba or wherever, Madrid, or maybe I'm gonna maybe I need the train to get me over to train and ferry back onto the train to get myself over to the over to Ireland, for example, or hey, maybe I'll just take a quick inner flight over there, 45-minute flight or whatever it is, depending on where I'm leaving from, and then start the package that way. So I did want to focus on, we do get people that do post river cruise packages that don't actually start at one of the ports. And that's common as well. So we can help accommodate anything that you're looking for. So I appreciate your time, your attention, and everybody's been asking so many great questions. Thank you so much, and I hope we can help you in planning these vacations. Take care.